Hey kids, welcome to Lesson 17, Building an App, Canvas Painter. Making spray paint with nested loops. In order to make spray paint look more real, you'll need to draw multiple dots randomly placed around the original X and Y locations. In order to do this, you will place one for loop inside of another, also known as a nested loop. You already have the main loop, which visits every index in event list. The inner loop should draw 5 circles whose X and Y locations use offset X and offset Y with a small random value added. Nested loops. When nesting loops, it is important that you use different variables to count your iterations. Look at the example at the right. These nested loops effectively say, for every possible value in event list dot length, run a loop 5 times. Since I is used as the counter variable in the outer loop, we need to use a different counter variable for the inner for loop, or things will go haywire. Why? If both loops used I as a counter variable, the inner loop would keep changing I, and the outer loop would not count properly. This example uses j as the inner loop variable, but you could use anything that is not I. Looks like we have a little example here. This is our spray paint button. It looks like we're dragging in a for loop. We're changing the variable I to j. We have 3 of them. Don't forget all 3. We're changing the loop condition to 5. And it looks like we're dragging our circle command in after that. We have a do this. Note steps shown in animation above. Add a for loop inside the existing for loop in the spray paint event handler. Change the counter variable to something other than the I for the inner for loop. Change the Boolean condition so the inner loop will run for 5 times. Move the circle code inside both for loops. Run your app and confirm that your new button creates a spray paint effect as shown below or to the side. This is our example here. And this looks much more spray painty than the last exercise. Well, this isn't too bad. They pretty much gave us the answer here. We are creating a nested for loop here. The big part of this lesson is, hey, don't reuse your variables or things will go wrong. Where is this happening? This is happening in our spray paint button. Let's go down in our code here. What we need to do is to drag in a for loop here. Where is the for loop going to go? What's going to be nested? So we want it right after this for. Add some space. Go to our control and drag in another for loop. So we're nesting this one. Remember to change all 3 of the variables. I am just going to use j because that's what code.org used. We're going to change the number of loops from 4 to 5. And then we are going to drag this whole circle code into our new for loop. Should end up with 2 curly Q's and our curly Q parentheses semicolon at the end. This means every time our event list length is going to run, it's also going to run 5 little smaller loops to go in there. That means for every dot the user has a circle, we now should get 5 little dots of random sizes. The sizes will be the number plus or minus 3. Let's see if that's what happens. Run. Let's draw a line to test this out. Hit spray paint. That definitely looks more spray painty. Random, we can go back to our original and spray paint. The more we hit spray paint, looks like the more circles we get. We can change this number to give us a different effect. Let's just try 10 for each little one. Hit reset, run here for the new line of code. Draw our line, go to spray paint. Look how many little dots there are there. Pretty neat little effect, kids. Let's change ours back to 5 because that's what they had. I think our code is working as it should. Looking back up here to our do this, We added a for loop inside the existing loop of spray paint. We changed the counter variable to something other than I. We used J just like them. We changed the Boolean condition from 4 to 5. Then we moved the circle code inside both for loops. We ran the app a couple of times and confirmed it did put 5 tiny little circles for every one part of our array. Very fun lesson. I think this is all code.org wants. Let's see if they want anything else. Nope. Good job, kids. I will see you on the next lesson.